how did that impact your view of God?
Like, so I knew God was there
Mhm,
and I knew God was present,
mhm.
but with everything going on, all the conflict, I was just like a numb child. Like, I learned so much. Like, I know my Bible very well.
Handle the information.
I have all the information, but like the relationship aspect, numb. I didn't feel anything.
And do you think that numbness came from the fighting and then the abuse
Yeah,
that happened
I
as well?
do. I really do. I still even struggle with it to this day. Like, there's just days where you just wake up and you're like, why? Why do I care? Why should I care? It doesn't matter. Like, and then it's like trying
Yeah.
to fight that and being like, I care because I know God loves me. I care because God did things for me that if He wasn't there, these things wouldn't have happened. So,
That's okay. That's a lot. I mean, all right. So then walk me through then like adolescence, teenage, then how did you start how did the church as you grew, how did the church become even more part of your life?
so in I was around 14 ish. My parents caught me being sexually involved with my boyfriend at the time, and my mother was very livid with me, and
Mm,
I was getting back in the car going back home from home leave back to Monterey Bay Academy, and my mom turned to me and said, Gianna, I thought I taught you don't have sex outside of marriage, there's consequences to it. And she referenced childhood, like you, her ending up with a non-Adventist man. She's like, I thought I taught you, like, don't have sex outside of marriage, like there's so much risk with it. And I turned to her and I said, why would it matter? I'm not a virgin anyway.
Is that how you told your mom that you're not a virgin? That's crazy. Wow. What was her reaction?
My mom looked at me and was like, what are you talking about? And I looked at her and I said, I finally told her what had happened when I was a kid,
Yeah.
because that entire time I was silent.
How long was that going on for, by the way? We
I
didn't really
don't
touch on
even
it.
know
Okay.
when it started. Like, I literally have no idea. I just know it ended when I was about 9 or 10. And
Okay.
like I said, like, they themselves were also a child. It wasn't like a predator seeking
Right.
prey.
So how do you even deal with that, you
Like,
know?
yeah, because it's like, I don't look at them and think
Mm.
you're a monster. I look at them and think something more horrific was happening to you and you had no idea how
And you
to
were
cope with.
imitating that behavior as a
Yes,
child because you thought this was the
normal
normal.
inner interactions.
Mm.
And so I to this day I still see them. I love them. They
Oh,
know I've forgiven them. They've even apologized to me. So like we've
that
like
takes heart transformation to be able to do that. Like,
yes,
that's only a God thing for
it
sure.
really is. Like, and I know they still struggle and I know they still have their own trauma that they are working through.
Yeah.
But like I don't resent them or hate them in the slightest. I'm
Yeah.
like they just
Yeah.
need support and
Yeah.
I try to be there for them when I can.
Wow. That's just listen, that takes Jesus to
That
do something
really
like that.
does.
All right. So take us back to the scene in the car. You
Yes.
said that to your mom. What happens?
Mom looked at me and was like, Gianna, what are you talking about? And then I told her,
Okay.
and she was obviously mortified. We're driving, mind you. My mom starts tearing up and she's like, I'm sorry I failed you. And I'm just like, Mom, no one would have known. How would you have known? No one would have known. Like, if I had never said anything, no one would have known. No one would have had any idea. And it opened up the conversation of my mom even herself admitted when she had ended her relationship with the Adventist and it got involved with my dad, she herself felt like, well, why does it matter? So often in Christianity, we're taught if you're not a virgin, good luck getting married.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have your virginity, then you're not going to have a happy, successful marriage. So then what's the point?
Yeah. It's unfortunately, like, sure, there is a reason for waiting, right?
Yes.
There's metrics and there's data supporting like that in regards to when you find your lifelong partner
Yes.
and the length of it and the least likely to get divorced. However, I think we just have a bad way of delivering that as Christians in general. Like,
Yes, we do.
I never had a formal sex talk when I was growing up. It was just like, don't have sex. It's a sin. Period. Like
Oh
leave it
my.
at that. No breaking it down, sitting around like, why is
Mm-hmm.
this way? What was God's ideal
Yeah.
and in the beginning? And what is the ramifications and the consequences
Mm-hmm.
if you give yourself to someone you don't plan on giving yourself to for the rest of your life? Forming soul ties with people you have no intention with being with for the
Yes.
long term. So it's like I feel like we have to do a better job of explaining that to the younger generation because you we can't just say that and assume that they're going to listen because people are out here having sex in the church and
Yeah.
we and they don't want to, they're guilt ridden, so they're going to keep it a secret because don't want to be
Mm-hmm.
condemned. But also we need to stop acting like virginity is this uh platform
Yeah.
to aspire to, because in the end the virtue is not necessarily in being a virgin, but in like, hey, I'm going to give myself to someone for the rest of my life,
Yes.
mind, body, and soul, and spiritually. But there's no virtue in just being a virgin itself,
Yes.
and I think we spin it that way, and then there's immense pressure, especially on young women,
Yes, we
for
do.
that. Not so much from the men. It's like they don't really care, which is a
Mm.
problem in itself.
Yeah.
But I think that pressure, then when you fall, then it's like, what's the point? Like,
Mm-hmm.
no, I'm just gonna continue in this path.
Yep.
So you and your mom have that conversation. I guess you guys have been bonded a little bit.
Yes, my mom and I to this day are super close.
That's
I
good.
call her and talk to her an hour every day.
That's nice.
And I've done that since high school. Actually, even before high school, like we and I were super close just because all the turmoil, she and I became just super close and just have stayed close. So yes, we have that conversation. I'm in high school, relationships and relationships, bud with my romantic life, and my behavior doesn't really change. My mom is kind of aware of it, but she doesn't want to confront me either because I think she could tell my child doesn't care.